Today here we're going to talk about multi-AI agent system and how it can really help you automate parts of your life and job. And as you can start thinking about it, like you can take these key learnings right after the session to your office or your life and start able to like make this work for you. So let's get started. Uh, my name is Ankit Raheja. I'm an AI product manager at a company called CDK Global. We're the largest car dealership software company in United States. If there's a reason when you go to a car dealership, there's a 53% probability that there's a car CDK's product that is being used at the car dealership. Around like 2 to 3% of the United States GDP flows through our portfolio system. So I really work across multiple initiatives. So what I'm focusing on is discovering, building, launching, and scaling 0 to 1 data products, which are leveraging ML, Gen AI, and APIs. So the reason I'm here today is to talk about three things. First of all, uncover what these agents really are and how they really differ from LLMs. Second, we go a little bit more deep into how much multi-agent AI works. Third, we'll talk about key considerations because I keep talking to my data scientists like, hey, we are not doing science projects. Eventually, it really makes only sense when we are able to deliver value to our company and to our customers. So, like, as you know, like 95% of products never make it to production. So that's why I will talk about few key considerations for deploying it in production. Last but not least, we will finish it off with a quick demo of how it works. Like, I've already shared the slides with Bijan. So, we can take any questions at end of the session. So we're going to talk about multi-agent, what are multi-agents are, why should PMs care about it, different kinds of multi-agents, consideration for production grade systems, and finally the demo of one of the multi-AI agent system called True.ai. So first, let's talk about like why it makes more and more sense for us to start looking at it. As you can see, AI is being infused across companies, across different portfolios. Right now, as what currently the companies are doing is that companies are putting bits and pieces of AI capabilities across their portfolio. They have some foundation models, they have some of their the data systems, and then they have some user-facing applications. So that's how they are able to drive their KPIs. In the next era, what we are trying to see is, and I think ChatGPT is the best example for it. Like they have redefined how the user experience would look like. Expectations from the user experience for AI-powered products has drastically changed. As you know, the ChatGPT is based on the transformer architecture. Transformer architecture has been there since 2018. We have seen it in the world of the BERTs of the world. BERT has been there way earlier than ChatGPT, but ChatGPT really upended the competition by coming up with this reimagining UI starting with AI. So that's what is coming tomorrow. But for some companies such as Perplexity.com and for ChatGPT, it has already arrived, but many companies are going to do that. But the next world that we are moving towards is like start thinking a company as a neural network. Think of it having a profit and loss on top, like which has revenue component, which has cost component. For cost component, you can start breaking it down into small subsequent parts. It could be customer support cost, it could be product development cost, many things where agents can start playing the role. On the revenue side, you can see how agents can start playing the role. Very good examples are digital marketing use cases because if you can start thinking about it, making better copy, like basically doing like understanding what the customers are really needing, personalizing. So you can see here in the future of the world, we can see that companies operating like a neural network. So if you start thinking about like what an agent looks like. So I think it's a very good example here. What it talks about is like, imagine that you want to get a game built. So how do you get a game built? First of all, you will go to this company called Chat Dev. The Chat Dev, the manager is going to work with designing, then the coding team will be working on it, then testing and documenting. So all you as a user just has to ask a question that, hey, develop a Gomku game for me. And all the agents are going to be working very closely together. So eventually at end of the project implementation, we can see that codes and docs will be available. And if you have not heard, there's a company called Devin.ai, which had pretty inflated expectations, but it's a 6-month-old company. It has already reached a valuation of $2 billion. What they are talking about is a chat, an agent who will be your software developer. Based on some data points, it was doing way better than the like a junior engineer. So definitely so that's the world we are moving towards. So in a nutshell, what exactly are AI agents? So AI agents are nothing but autonomous intelligent systems which are specifically performing a specific task without much human intervention. So which is a bit different from how LLMs operate. So if you have to start thinking about how LLMs operate, so like when you use a chat GPT, you you put in a prompt, the LLM will be coming up with the next token. Eventually, it will come with an answer, and then you will take that back answer, and you'll tell the chat GPT that, hey, you know what? Like, I'm not really happy with this answer you gave. For example, the question could be that, like, hey, uh, like create an itinerary for me for going to Korea. So like you're not very happy. So it's a very iterative process. Uh, so that's what the normal chat GPTs of the world operate. The next world that we are moving towards is a RAG-based LLM model. So what it's doing that, yes, it is still using the prompt, but it also has some additional context. It could be your customer data, it could be your internal documentation data. So basically, it has some database so that and so it your answers will become a lot more better. But agents gets us to even next level. So agents has multiple parts, and we will be covering that during our demo also. So think of an agent, you give it a prompt. So what the agent will do it is like, so it's gonna do some reasoning, it will start to break it down into small parts, it will talk to some other agents, and then it will look at some tools, and it will have some short-term and long-term memory, and eventually in the end it will give an answer. So I just don't want to talk about that this being a hype. The first thing that we should look at what Deep Learning AI, which is Andrew Ng's company, what they have decided. So this is a very fascinating chart. Uh, let's talk about like what this chart means here. We are talking about coding benchmark, which is like a human evaluation. The y-axis are two different models, GPT-4 and GPT 3.5. The zero shot means that the simple one, you ask it one time, it will give you an answer. So it will be accurate around 48% times. GPT-4 is at 68.7%. The key takeaway from this is if you look at these things on the right side, even and these are the different agentic root use cases we are seeing it. Even with the 3.5, if you give it a lot more reflection, tool use, planning, and memory, like in an agent base, like a more iterative base, it will surpass even a GPT-4. So I think this is the biggest key takeaway that I would like us to go or take from this is that making agents work iteratively will definitely improve your outcome. So imagine if you have to write an essay, you just don't tell ChatGPT that, hey, write an essay for me. You need to have multiple iteration. So that's where agents come in and they have a very huge potential. And one thing that we're going to talk about is multi-agent. So according to Deep Learning AI, they started looking at when they looked at multi-agents, the multi-AI agents were surpassing everybody. Like eventually, like first you can start with some reflection, tool use. So this is why I got really passionate that we should talk about how multi-agents can really change the life. So now let's get into like few examples of multi-agents. It could be like we could look at a Crew AI, AutoGen, LangGraph, and Mosaic.ai. So Crew AI is a open source library. They also have some enterprise capabilities, and we will be looking at a demo from them. AutoGen is a capability that is uh, like brought in the market by Microsoft. You can check that. LangGraph is LangChain's agentic capability where you can create like AI agents. And it will be a dishonor if I don't talk about Databricks. I was in the Databricks Summit day before yesterday. They just launched Mosaic AI's agentic framework, and the demo was extremely cool. I highly encourage if you are able to see that, please check it out. They are trying to build capabilities to make compound AI systems and infuse AI systems across their portfolios, and they're also trying to make that work in the production. So for production, what do we care about in addition to the normal LLM-based model? You need to have some kind of an agentic framework. And we will be talking about this in the demo that I'm going to show. Agentic framework is nothing but like trying to make sure that like how like more flexible you can make it so that it can really solve the use case for the company. Why should a product manager care about it? So this is extremely important because we all are product manager here. Agentic framework is important because think about it. Most of the products will not reach production. You need to be able to iterate over multiple demos. So agentic framework really makes things easy to think of it like the CI/CD for agent. So that's where we need this agentic framework. So that's the one extremely important thing, which is important for the production grade systems. The second thing, extremely important thing, is the agentic evaluation. So we can keep doing these science projects, but when things reach the production environment, you really do not have like room to have any like you should not have any problem. If you remember, what had happened was that there was one car dealership. They had built an LLM and they had deployed in production for customers to use. Customer was able to negotiate a $1 price for a car by talking to this chatbot. So that those are the kind of things that can happen. So that's why we always need to make sure that we have a good evaluation system in place. There was another use case where Air Canada uh, had to pay a lot of money as a fine, like because they did not follow their T&Cs. So that's where agentic evaluation is really important. Agentic evaluation will tell you like what metrics are going up, how much it is hallucinating, like which markets are doing well, like which markets are not doing well. So there's a lot of stuff. The last thing that we want to talk about is like how this thing called ML flow tracking works. So the ML flow is a very like standard concept for AI ML based system. The way this works is that you need to be able to pinpoint where exactly there was some kind of a fault in your system. I'll give you a very good example for this. Let's say you have a prompt, you have an answer. Uh, if the prompt the answers are completely wrong, how will be able to do it? It's not a deterministic system. It's a probabilistic system. So you really need to get down to deep weeds of it to figure out where exactly that happened. So yeah, we do not have that much time today, but like if we are able to complete the demo, then yeah, we will go through like how this really works. So this is the key additional consideration for the production grade agentic system. So now let's jump into the time that we all have been waiting for, trying to see like how the demo for this capability really works. And I'm going to give an example for Crew.ai. Let me share my screen. Okay.
And just a quick note that for those of you that might not be able to follow all the steps in the workshop, keep in mind a recording will be available on both LinkedIn, like also on our website in the community section. If you don't know where it is, just go to our website. You'll see it in the top nav, and a link to the PowerPoint slides and everything will be available there. So.
Sure. So now, uh, Bijan, is there a way for us to share the PPT also with the folks so that they can use that?
Yeah. Is it because of the links? Is that why you want to share them with them? I can just like copy paste them and because you already gave it to me, I can just like send it to them. Does that work?
Yes, I think yeah, that will work. So the first thing, yeah,
Okay,
I
cool.
have run a lot of these demos. The things that really we care about first is like making sure that we have our API keys available, and it is not a chat GPT key, it's an API key by going to platform.openai.com. Yeah, but you do have the recording, and I already have my keys already in my system. And I've also given some sample code for you. I've removed my API key from that so that if you really want to use your own API key, you can use that also. But the first thing to know is that these products do need an API key because under the hood, these agentic systems are still leveraging these foundation models or your fine-tuned model or your small language model. So yeah, so that's why you do need an API key to really see the power of these systems. So let me now go ahead
Okay.
and you're able
So
to see
as
my
you
screen,
guys,
right? Go
yeah,
ahead.
and as you guys can see in the chat, I'm posting it right now, like with all the instructions. And for those of you who are in LinkedIn, the instructions are coming in a minute. So just kind of bear with me. I'm going to post it on Zoom first, and we'll go from there.
You're able to see my collab, right, everybody? Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so you'll be thinking, before I want to get into this, like you'll be thinking, and I believe we do have ample time, like why are product managers getting into these collab notebooks and really trying to operate and showcase the power? I'll tell you, the market is moving so fast, you really need to build quick prototypes. That's why it's really helpful to use these tools. In fact, one of the things that my VP told me that, hey, Ankit, if we really need to add resources for our AI/ML products, we should not only look at some YouTube videos, we should not look at some blog posts. We should really try to build some kind of quick prototypes. And you know what? I do agree with it. It's like it's show but not tell. So it's really helpful that you know little bit of Python. And as you'll see here, it's not complicated. Like people think that like, hey, Python is for folks who are in ivory tower. But if you look at it, and more of these products are becoming very much developer friendly, technical product manager friendly, and so that they can increase the adoption of this product. So I'm gonna start going through this process. So what we're going to do first, let's talk about the use case here we're trying to solve here. We are trying to use agents to research an article and write an article. So there will be multiple agents who will be talking to each other to showcase how this really works. So I think I don't want to just show. Like I just want to tell. I want to show you also like how we are literally using it. So the first thing that we'll be using is that like we'll be installing these like these libraries from True.ai. We are also using LangChain because LangChain is something that the tool is built on. Uh, so while this is running, it's completed, then we're done. And now, what is this next command doing? So since we have downloaded this, like we have this crew.ai library, now we're going to be importing three functions. And if you start thinking about it, It's extremely simple. Like you could have been hearing that, hey, it's very complicated. No, it's extremely simple. There are only three things that exist right now for Crew.ai. You have an agent. Think of an agent as an entity which is going to be doing some work. And this is more of a persona driven. So, like we product managers love personas, like what should an agent be doing? So, that is what the agent means here. What's a task? Task is what the task that agent is equipped to do. As we go and start doing it, it will start looking. And as you can see here, I unknowingly I just highlighted over task. You can even see the details about the documentation of what the task means. Then let's talk about what the crew will do. So think of a crew as like how all of these agents are going to interact with each other. Maybe they one of them will be a manager. Maybe one of them will be allowed to delegate. Maybe a junior analyst will not be able to delegate. So there's so many permutation and combinations that can go through this. So that's what the crew here means. So we will press crew. It is imported this. So yeah, I have written this. Yeah, I'm gonna cancel it in a few minutes. So yeah, please don't use it right now, the API key. But I've just made your notebooks very simple. You just have to remove this and put your own API key. So what are we going to do? We're going to have a planner, a writer, and an editor. So we'll be three people who will be talking to each other. What will be the planner be doing? So first, what we're going to do is we're going to initialize a planner. So planner is going to be called a content planner. What's their goal? I'm going to be in like plan and engage a factually accurate content on a topic. If you notice here, we have not hard coded what this topic will be. As you can start thinking as a product manager, you can scale it to so many different topics. Like for example, I want to know what's happening in world of cricket. I want to know what's happening in world of politics. I want to know what's happening in world of agents. So that's why this is like a variable that's there. Like what's the goal? We have talked about it. Backstory that you are working on a blog article about a topic. You collect information. So as you can see here, what's happening? This is exactly what we used to do in prompt engineering. We are literally starting to set up our planner. And if you can see here, it's so simple. Anybody can do it. And allowed delegation means I cannot delegate it to somebody else. For example, content planner is not going to be able to delegate to the agent writer to do things like, hey, you have a set task to do, make sure you finish it. And verbose is equal to true is something that this is a very common thing in Python. Sometimes you want to see how the code will operate. So that's why like verbose is equal to true. If you don't want to see all the how the sausage is made, you can keep verbose as false. So the same thing happens for agent is equal to writer. We do that. Like the same thing, like I here, this is the guts. This is the writer who's going to really start writing it. You are working on a writing topic, you need to write about this, and the content planner, the person before has given you all these details so that you can really do that. Uh, and so you can see here, we are literally being extremely explicit here about how you can use it. So it does not stop here. Let's say you're a writer, but if you don't have any checks and balances, you also need an editor on top of it, right? So that's the third agent that we're defining. Notice here, we're just defining the agents right now. What will an editor do? Editor is going to be having this role. They will be editing posts, basically making sure that like it meets the journalistic best practices. Let's say editor has been there in the company for 10 plus years. He or she will know a lot about like what is our company's mission, what's our company's branding. Yeah, like is our company more left leaning, is our company more right leaning, are we centrist? So that's where the editor will come in. Yeah, so now we have defined all these agents. Next is like what exactly are going to be the tasks that people are going to be doing. Step one, if you can see here the task, so we have multiple tasks. Like for the planning, what's the task is, do you see that? Like we have plan. For planning, this is the task. You'll be prioritize, you'll identify the target, and you'll develop like content outlining and introduction. So and include keywords and relevant data sources, and what exactly would an expected output would look like. So this is how the expected output look like. And notice here, the agent is a planner. So yeah, we're going to use that. Then the writer will come in. So writer will be taking all the plan that was built by the planner to write out this, like use this content plan to create a compelling topic, incorporate these keywords, ensure it's structured with an engaging. So as you can start seeing it, like if you notice the topic that I broached in the starting was that how you can automate your life. Don't tell others, but like I've been leveraging ChatGPT and agents to write my PIDs better. I use them way a lot, and people are like, Ankit, how are you able to write them so quickly? So, like, I don't keep telling, I know this is recorded, yeah, and I told my manager, one of the managers to show up for this, but like, it really helped me start having the starting point. So it really helps me to really start thinking what's there out there and how I can iterate over it. But of course, I do not just copy paste it and put it out there because it's going to be writing junk. So I also have my own a GPT that I use for creating my own PIDs for my AI products. So I have used that a lot also. But as you can see here, you can automate your work so much here. So this is the task list. This is the edit. So now you have already now defined all the tasks. Already you have defined all the entities. Now let's talk about what will these folks are going to do. So as you can see here, the learning curve is not at all steep right now for these small POCs that you have to build. The developers will need to spend a lot more time, but as you can see here, you can really do quick POC demo to get funding from your investors, like funding from your leadership, and maybe influencing your leaders to start thinking in some direction. So that's what we did. Now creating the crew. The crew will be, you have agents, you have three agents, planner, writer, and editor, and tasks. What the tasks are, like you're planning, writing, and editing. So it is planner will do planning, writer will do writing, editor will do editing. So now we will execute this code. So now everything is set. And think of it like a lazy learner. As you can see here, nothing is executed yet. We have just defined it. The magic will start starting now. And I know there's something called curse of demos. Yeah, let's see whether this works. Boom, it is working. So now the code is running. It is using the OpenAI key I have. So it is trying to do this. See? Yeah, you can see here, it has literally started writing the questions already. So what we were trying to the topic I have selected, if you see here was, the topic is agents. I'm gonna ask a question about agents. So the code is being written right now. So now you can see here, it's everything is getting executed. First of all, the planning is happening. Like this will be the key points that will be done. These will be the keywords. These will be the resources. So this is done. Then in the next one where the writer will come into picture is that like they will start looking at a lot more details and it will start adding more and more information. So eventually I'll show you how the end output looks like. So I will execute it again. You see how quickly did it do it? I just had to change one word. Uh, since it is a live demo, why don't we try something else? Let's talk about AI PM. AI product management, the live demo. But yeah, you see how much time it takes. But as you can see here, like as the code is being written, this is all live. Like this is where your LLMs are working extremely hard behind the scenes to really do all this good stuff for you. And you just have to take these and change your prompts to really make it work. So now let's see. Oh, it's already executed. Yeah, I just did it in front of you. Unlocking success in AI product management, latest trends. And so if this does not wow you, I'm not sure what else will, because this is so powerful that you're able to quickly get this insights and you can really automate parts. I'm not sure if some content writers are already using this as their starting point. If you remember, there was a strike in Hollywood where they were the people are on strike because they wanted to have IP over the content that they were writing out there because LLMs can keep on training all the data across the internet. So that's why, and they did eventually win and they got their salaries also increased. But as you can see here, this is the world that we are moving towards. And guess what? This is the worst this can be. It can only improve going forward. I just gave an example for writing a research article. Now let's make it even more harder. Let's talk about customer support bots. Now we're gonna talk about like how customer support bots can talk to a customer to really help them with their work. So what we're gonna do again is that we'll take the same Crew.ai, we've installed it, and you do all have the link to this one, so you can definitely try that one also. Right, this is running. Perfect. While it is running, at least I can start giving you some context around what exactly are the entities here that exist. First of all, you will have an agent. You will have a support agent. Support agent will be a senior support representative. The goal will be to the most friendly and you helpful support representative in your team. So literally what he is trying to do, he or she is trying to do is really be in front of the customer and really answering questions. So this is the support agent entity. The next one is going to be a support QA agent. Like this will be the manager to make sure that the support agent, maybe he's an intern, maybe he's net new. So you really need to make sure that there's like checks and balances before a customer gets this information. So that's why this is we need to be hearing about that. It looks like this code is getting over. Mhm. Yeah, let's see. Works. Hopefully should still work. So now basically what's happening is that there's one thing which is different here. There is some kind of a delegation that is happening. For example, the QA agent is going to be delegating the work and telling that to the agent, like, hey, support agent, your work is not good enough. You need to come back with it here. So that's how this can operate. So that's why we did that. And then we again will be importing the screw tool. So now you'll see here, what else are we adding to this to make it even more smarter? Now, I am not just going to the website to crawl the data to give you information about some content. I am literally giving link to our documentation on the site because here the customer support agent is going to be answering questions to a person by looking at the documentation which already exists on the site. So that's where like you are able to use tools capability. So this will really make things a lot more easier for you. You can look at loading some like some customer data, you can load data from CRM, you can probably integrate with Zendesk, etc., to really make things a lot more easier for you. So here, the scraping that it's going to do is it's going to look at this one called like how to like use this specific documentation from their own website. So yeah, we have already pointed it to this one. So now the next is doing all the task lists that it is doing, like literally taking all this information. Notice what's happening here. You're using the customer's variable name. So literally, you've seen, right? Like sometimes those, like some companies put out to production a lot more earlier. You will see this quote customer, which is not we want, right? Like we want to really get a person name. So customer is a variable. So literally, you're really talking in real life to that customer to really get this information out there. So that's what it is. Then the next one is about QA review. So what will this do? This will review the response drafted by the senior support rep and ensure the answer is comprehensive, accurate, and adheres to high quality standard. So that's where this will come into picture and it will also operate. Now, again, the next thing that we discussed was about like Now we have the entities, we have their tasks. The last thing that we have to do is to make sure that we are assigning like what exactly will the crew operate here. And there's one more thing that got added, memory. Memory is really important because as you can see here, like GPT 4 and 4.0 onwards, you will start seeing there's an option called memory that is enabled. So memory is really giving them a short term and a long term and a specific instance memory. So as we remember, why do you think these multi-agents are becoming more and more like a reality? And because they are having this memory, like if they made some mistakes from past, they are going to be keep on improving upon the previous instances. So I think that's how even the machine learning operates. So that's how the memory is becoming more and more important. And if you see here with crew.ai, I just had to add one more variable called memory is equal to true. That's it, nothing else. So now the crew is ready. So now we have starting this. So like I already parked it like say, hey, the customer is PM exercise, person is Bijan. Yeah, I want help with setting up a crew and kicking it off specifically. How can I add memory to my crew? Can you provide some guidance? So this is a question which Bijan is asking, and he works for a company called PM Exercises. And the question is, I need help. So if we have this one, and eventually when the result is where the crew will kick off and start doing the work. Let's see if this works. I think there's some issue, but at least you get a gist like, so this will eventually operate like, yeah, maybe there's something has changed. Yeah, I think let's see what has changed. Maybe the variable name has changed, but at least I want to show you that like, hey, this will work like with production because as you know, the URLs keep changing, but exactly this is how it looks. Let's see if it's able to even get this information or not. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, it was able to figure it out. If you see here, what it did was that like it did not get this information in the starting, but eventually it was able to. Okay, the runtime got disconnected, but at least yeah. But at least I wanna show you the picture. Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Here. Do you see this? Yeah. Hi, Bijan. Thank you for reaching out with the inquiry about setting up crew and adding memory to it. I apologize for not able to specific content. This is how you'll do it. So as you can see here, you literally are trying to automate this initiative because what's happening now is that you have a support rep and you have a QA rep, Q&A rep. So they both are talking and making sure that they are giving the right information to Bijan, who's the customer. So uh, I'd have one more one, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I think we should open up the floor for questions. So this is also another one. If you really want to check it out extremely well, I recommend looking at this content from deeplearning.ai. They do have this one like where they have used Crew.ai. The examples are pretty similar. It is still beginner, but at least it will start getting you in this world of agents, and that's how I feel that is really will be helping you understand like how these agents work because right now I feel the agents are there, but they're not good enough. But as you know, BERT was the BERT, the transformer model was there from 2018. But ChatGPT really took the same transformer architecture and improved upon it. And now, rest is history. Now you're going to soon have OpenAI capabilities on your iPhone. Like Sam Altman is such a, like, is able to pull that off. Right? Like, so I really don't want us to get left behind. That's why I wanted to highlight this new world that we're moving towards, like where agents can really come into picture. One caveat for agent, what I have been seeing right now is where I don't see agents still working well is like I did read an article on KYC, know your customer. You cannot always use agents for these very specific pointed use cases where you don't you have very specific checks and balances to use, the agent will really does not make sense. So context is extremely important where you use agents. Agents make perfect sense when you're trying to do few things. First of all, you want to generate some content, right? Because there is a lot of room for like creativity there. Number two, customer support rep. Like it also depends, like whether you are talking to an enterprise customer, like who gives you like millions of dollars, or you're talking to a B2C customer where there's still a chance that it may not perform well. But for financial transactions, for know your customer capabilities, which are so important, agents, I believe, are still not there. So people were talking that, hey, agents are not doing so well also. Yes, there's a reason for that. You don't use agents for everything, and anything. You need to really have a business case where it makes sense. So that's where the AI product managers really come in to really not only talk about the tech, but they talk about whether it's really solving the business needs, whether it's solving the customer needs, and we are doing it in a more helpful, honest, and harmless way. That's all from my side. I would like to open the floor for questions. Bijan, do you have any questions or if anybody else has
Oh,
questions?
yeah. Thank you so much. This was an amazing session and we really enjoyed it. And um, it's really one of those key areas that I think even though it might feel a little bit hard for a lot of people, try to like just like understand the concepts at least. And yes, to finding a way to get your hands dirty with Google Colab, I think that's really important. Thank you so much, Ankit. And before we go into any questions that people might have, I just wanted to tell anybody here, in case you're exploring joining our next cohort, today is the last day to enroll early and take advantage of some of the additional benefits that we offer. Check out the page. But with that said, let me pass it to the floor. There are a bunch of questions that are posted. One thing that I was going to say is it would be great if you guys can go to the questions that you find are important and just like give it a thumbs up. That's a good way for me to kind of know which ones are of the higher priority. But until then, I'll just go and ask somebody to ask their questions. I saw, I believe, Anon, you raised your hand. Is that right? Did you want to ask a question? Or you were just clapping? I think you were just clapping. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? They want to raise their hand real quick. And then after that, I'll be asking questions from what has been typed here. Who's interested in asking a question? Okay.
It's I'll ask one. So
Go
somebody
ahead,
asked
Scott.
this.
Go ahead.
uh, Thank you so much. So somebody already asked in the chat, how is this better than say just GPT? Like when I looked at those three roles, it sort of felt like a convolutional neural network and the subsequent generative adversarial network. So you come up with the probabilities for the matching in images, and then the GAN goes and sort of checks them. So it kind of felt like you generate the article and then the editor checks it. So it seemed like kind of the same thing. So it goes back to the question, is that an appropriate metaphor? And why is this better than just the basic GPT?
Yes, yes and no. So yeah, they are like your GANs, like general adversarial networks. Like you have a person who is creating these images, and the second one is saying that hey, this is right or wrong. But as you can see here, that trying to leverage GANs is not very straightforward, because like so I don't think we have seen a massive like adoption at a B2C level, like where people are saying, hey, let me create a GAN chart, let me create some GAN agents also. But in the concept wise, yeah, they are doing very similar things, but there are some more additional things that are happening here. If you can see here, the for agents, we also have many additional things that's happening. That there is a concept of the memory. Yeah, you have a concept of leveraging additional tools. If you saw in the demo, I was using a scraper. A scraper was going to the website, trying to read all the content, and using that as the memory. When you're trying to do GAN, like, so you cannot scale that then. Uh, and the other thing is that like there is some kind of a reasoning. So what reasoning is happening is that, as you know, there's a concept called COT, chain of thought. What it's doing is that it's breaking down a problem into small subsequent parts, So all these things are not available directly out of GANs, but that's why I said it's a yes and no answer. Like there are different agents who are talking to each other, like doing the right things, and they do have a manager also on top of it. There's something called like hierarchical decision making. Crew AI does have that capability. I didn't show it, but it does just have this capability. So GANs do not have that capability, but like in concept, like these are first principles that we were looking at, like how GAN works. This is a little bit similar to how even the agents do work.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Thank you. Yeah, I meant GAN as a conceptual level, not as an actual
Correct,
tool set.
correct.
So I think, yeah, thank you so much. Okay, yep, that was it.
Awesome, great. Thank you so much, Scott. So, any other questions that anybody just wants to ask here, or should I just? So, I
Maybe
think, yeah, go
quick,
ahead, Anand, and then
quick,
after that, I'll ask the next one.
yeah, quickly, and Ankit, if you could please open the slide, I think 10th, where you are talking about multiple multi-agent options.
Just like
Uh, yeah, this one. Um, do you have some guidance, about these four options? Is that applicable for individual kind of a specialized purpose, or these are pretty much kind of
great
uh,
question, and I was expecting this question. That's why, like, yeah, we have to get into our office meeting, so we need to have something called an appendix slide. That's exactly what I had. Uh, you have these multiple products. We have AutoGen, Crew, and LangGraph. Like so, I think it's mostly about like how comfortable are you with leveraging if you mostly use LangChain? So then probably look at LangGraph. Like so, it is not completely autonomous. Crew AI is highly autonomous, and it is more of a persona based, like a role playing agent. Like you saw, right? Like what we did was like, hey, you are a very helpful support bot. These are the things that you can do. So it's more a lot more intuitive. But I would and Crew AI also does have enterprise capability, but they are again still in private beta. So you can still go to Crew AI, play around with it, and then if you want to partner with them, they will also help you focus on production level use cases. These are the three examples I can think of. But the one I think it also depends on like what's your company's tech stack is. So if we are leveraging Databricks or if we're leveraging Snowflake. So these are like the two providers that are really going more and more into the LLM space, specifically because they have their because all the data is part of their ecosystem. Like Databricks could have their own data warehouse, Snowflake can have its own data warehouse. So I will recommend looking at your existing tech stack like which exist and see if they're able to have some Gen AI capability. So that's why I gave a highlight for Mosaic.ai. Highly recommend checking out Mosaic AI. This is by Databricks. So they gave a demo during the Databricks Summit. So they do have very low code, no code agentic frameworks that you can use. You can also use their Lakehouse monitoring to track their metrics. So if you have Databricks, highly recommend checking them out. Or you can also go and check the Crew.ai. It all depends, like based on what your tech stack is.
and some of when I'm hearing Ankit with Crew AI is looking something fascinating. And if we would be able to think of enterprise ecosystem and somehow we would be relayed with the personas, I think there are many use cases could pop up. But I'm not sure is it the same, but um, I'll definitely kind of would like to go a little ahead and brainstorm a little bit more. And the way you are saying, even the way you are handling your infrastructure, basically the cloud. I think what you're saying, even the cloud piece, we need to look into that, how your data is residing and where it is residing and how you're going to pull. And that also may be a decision-making factor, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, so that's why like I always like because we are leveraging Mosaic AI here a
Mm-hmm.
lot. So yeah, you can do RAG, you can do fine tuning, you can do AI evaluation. So you do have all these capability is already available. So if you can see here, Mosaic AI has this ability, like you have your data, you have your build, you deploy them, then you evaluate it, and then you govern it. Like so, like they are building on top of it. So Databricks is just one of them. You can have multiple like other providers like AWS, Google Cloud. Like one of our instructors now is working in Google Cloud on agents. So literally like every provider is going to be coming fast. Like yeah, you cannot just lift and shift wholly of your like, hey, agents are doing really well in Databricks. I'm not going to just move away from AWS, right? So it all depends. You need to really take a like more of a measured approach how you want to proceed forward in this journey. But yeah, like I would still check out like the POCs which exist. At least you can start having more intelligent conversation with your data scientists, MLEs, with your leadership about like, hey, this is possible that like, should we do a POC inside the company? Maybe do a hackathon and then like, okay, hackathon did really well. Now this is the time for us to put more resources to it, like hire some Gen AI vendor team, work with professional services of these players and take it to the next level.
Thank you so much, Ankit.
Absolutely.
Ankit,
Awesome,
one
great.
question
So
I
I'm
have.
going. Sorry,
Okay.
sorry, sorry. There's one person in line that had a question that was given some thumbs up. I want to go to them, and then we'll come to whoever that's speaking. But please use your hand just to kind of keep the session organized. I think the question was from Sridhar, and he was asking that how do you decide and rank the outcomes given by an LLM versus LLM plus RAGs versus AI agents? I think you touched on this briefly, but maybe is there anything else that you wanted to highlight?
Yes, what you're talking about is like how do we rank it? Like so for this, what I will check like the way I said is like agentic evaluation. So what agentic evaluation will really tell you is literally that how your data, it's already in the public preview mode now. So you can really see what's the order in which your results are coming. Let's say because every like because if you think about a vector database, right? Vector database is working behind the scenes. It is like coming up with a prioritized order. Like because when you look at how the LLMs operate right now, you don't get like the way in Google search 10 different answers. You just get one answer. It's probabilistic, plus it uses some additional context about what you have. So what it can do it is like, so I highly recommend looking at how these rack systems work. What they'll do it is it will give you an order in like, hey, this is the answer which I'm giving. The confidence level is X percentage. The second one, the confidence level is a little bit lower. You can tweak your prompts. You can tweak your model to say that, hey, I don't like this first answer that you're giving. I want you to give the second answer more. So you can fine tune your model. So it all depends. And the way to make it happen is by having a very good evaluation system in place. So like there's a concept called AI observability. Like Arise.ai is something that you can use. Arise, yeah, Arise.ai. I was talking to them. Yeah, so Arise.ai have their own open source observability models. You can even see that to see what works, what does not work. So yeah, so there's a lot of stuff out there in market to really see. Do you see that? Yeah, I think this is a very good example. I'll not spend too much time, but if you see, okay, it went into code, but if you can see what's happening here, it went and did query, it did retrieved, it went to embedding, and this is the answer. So do you see there's an input, there's a prompt, and this is the answer. So you can literally get down to this level to really figure out what exactly is happening.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I know we have limited time, so we're just going to take one last question. Only one question. Chaitali, go ahead. And then after you, we're going to wrap up the session.
Yeah, thanks, Vijan. Thanks, Ankit, for the great session. So, for this Mosaic AI, can we create custom agents? That is first question. And second question is, how do we
Sorry,
embed
one
the...
question. Sorry, Chaitali, just
Oh,
because we're limited in time, can you just ask one
sure.
question? Yeah.
So
Okay.
I went to the Databricks Summit day before yesterday. They did show me how I can create a custom agent. So it uses your own underlying data. It also uses the data from the web because, as you know, it all uses those foundation models which are trained on millions and billions of the document. So it uses both of them to really showcase that. So I highly recommend checking out Databricks. They are in public preview now. So if you do have your account executive, highly recommend working with them and trying to get access to that. And maybe you can even try like reaching out to the support if you don't have a Databricks account, and to see if they can give you some kind of a private rep. But I had seen it working live in the demo there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Amazing session. And I know there are more questions, but here's the good news. Ankit is around. So there are a few questions posted on LinkedIn that people can answer. Like I think Ankit, you can answer. And if there are additional questions, you guys can always like message Ankit. I'll share his direct Slack profile with both the existing cohort members, and all the alumni already know him. So I think you guys can just like reach out to him. Thank you so much, Ankit. I think this was an amazing session, amazing session, really valuable session. And I can tell people also enjoyed it. So looking forward to having you again, and congratulations on all the great things that you're doing for the AIPM community. Looking forward to seeing you soon again. And for those of you that you're considering joining the next cohort, today is the last day to enroll early and take advantage of some additional benefits. Next Friday, we have another great community session by June Kim, who's actually currently an instructor at Cornell University, teaching the topic of regulatory frameworks in AI. So I'm sure if you're working in an enterprise, you're going to have a bunch of questions, or the compliancy team or the regulatory, somebody's asking you, what are we going to do with this and that from a regulatory or data or privacy perspective? So it's going to be very valuable. Make sure you attend it, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Thank you so much, and we'll see you all next week. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.
This is Harita, and I am Director of Automation at Eversana. And in my past, I have seen AI projects, generative AI projects, but there was always some level of discomfort when approaching with questions to the engineers and architects, because just a lack of understanding of the technology. I used to read online, learn some, do some self-learning, but it's hard to retain until you start putting something together on your own. And that's what the cohort helped us do, is, introduce all the concepts, and we could go back and read more about it. Plus, applied immediately towards the end of the cohort. And that gave us much more confidence in talking to our engineers, our data people, and even trying to analyze a problem and see how a machine learning solution would fit in here. So huge shout out to Bijan and Kai for helping us in there. And I can personally vouch for this cohort, because the kind of confidence that I have now before compared to what I had before cohort is like night and day. I understand the concepts more. I know what I should ask my engineer. So highly recommend it.